Ultralight backpackers will cut toothbrush handles, but they still argue about water bottles. Today we're comparing the most common and the newest ultralight water bottle options in order to answer one question. Is the newest reusable water bottle actually worth the extra weight? Hey guys, I'm Ricky, and welcome back to your Trail Buddy. Let's dive in and talk about each one of these bottles options separately. So let's start off with the Smartwater bottle, the king of the trail. This is definitely one of the cheapest options out there, and it fits a lot of your filtering options like your Sawyer squeeze and your quick draws. It's super easy to replace on trail if for whatever reason you want another one. And it's actually light enough to be good enough when you're out on the trail. But some of the downfalls that we have to the Smartwater bottle is that the thin plastic will degrade over time. It can crack in some colder temperatures because it's not really great for hot water. And plus the environmental guilt you get with this too is real. Smartwater bottles are like duct tape. They're ugly, cheap, and surprisingly effective. Next, let's talk about the CNOC, the new ultralight fad. This thing weighs around 2.4 ounces without any water in it. This thing is actually really still lightweight for it to be a reusable water bottle. It'll even pack down nearly flat whenever there's no water in it. It's definitely made with better material than say a disposable water bottle. And they're designed for longer term use. But now what are some of the negatives about it? For me, one of the biggest things is it's kind of awkward when drinking out of. It's very similar to say a soft flask, where if you're not careful, you can't just hold it in the middle because you'll squeeze on it trying to pull it up and you'll end up skirting your face full of water. So you end up having to kind of take a weird position to hold it, which, hold it up top where it's hard and at bottom and then drink out of it. So it becomes a little awkward. Not as easy to me to do one-handed as if I'm used to doing with the Smartwater bottle. And it doesn't really rigidly hold the water like we're used to with some of our other bottles. And it is a little bit heavier. It's like 0.8 ounces heavier than a Smartwater bottle. So it really and truthfully, at first glance, it's a little weird. It's kind of like drinking out of a soft flask. But the reusability and the packability is really what keeps bringing me back to it. Next, let's talk about a soft flask. So this is the Outdoor Vitals ½ liter soft flask that I have. So for those of you that are used to seeing me, I go on a lot of fast packing trips. And so if you've got any fast packing gear or even trail running gear, you're used to seeing some of these flasks that we use because we wear them in our vests and on our straps, for our packs. And so even though this one's only ½ liter, so it's not really apples to apples, this thing weighs just over an ounce. And so if I took 2 of these to make it a full liter, you'd be at about 2 ounces for the weight on this, which is similar to what the CNOC water bottle is for itself. But some of the same challenges to me with this as you might have with the CNOC, even though the CNOC water bottle is a little bit more rigid because of the hard top at the top and then the hard bottom. So like I can actually sit the CNOC down, whereas I can't really sit the soft flask down like that for it. And so it becomes really good if you're running and I've got it in my vest and I can just reach down and just drink in it this way. It can be very good, but it's not so, some of the negatives on it is that it's not as convenient to be able to take and put in your side pocket if you're wanting to backpack. And it's really not that convenient for me when you're out around camp. So it's a lightweight option to be able to carry water, but it's also very awkward. So let's go to the old school king of water bottles, which is the Nalgene. I mean, for me, I've been carrying a Nalgene for decades. It was definitely what I started out with for a long time. Whenever I moved away from the military canteen as a young kid, the Nalgene was what I moved into. And it was really difficult for me at one point in my life to move away from what I knew as the tried and true to something like the Smartwater bottle for that. And there's still places and there's still times where this thing still makes it into my pack. And one of those situations is really like winter camping. I will always take a Nalgene when I go out for winter camping, because some of the things that it can do that some of these other things have harder times doing is like holding and handling hot water. And so a lot of times I will take some boiling water and then fill this thing forward in order to be able to have some hot water with me on the trail if I want it. Or even another fun trick is that you can take and fill it full of hot water and then make sure it's tightly sealed so that it doesn't leak. And then you can slip it into your sleeping bag or your quilt in order to help keep it warm at night. And then it also gives you some nice water to be able to drink first thing in the morning when in your winter trips that you've got going on. And then this thing is just sturdy. Like, you don't have to worry so much about if you drop this versus, you know, some of these other bottles here, you know, if you drop them and it runs across, sometimes you might have it crack or do other things and break for that. Whereas these things are just tried and true. And then the other thing that I really like this one for is on the winter camping, a lot of times I end up getting my water by melting snow a lot of times. And if you've ever melted snow for your water, you know that a lot of times the snow's got dirt and debris in it. And so in order to keep from getting that dirt and debris into your water and having to drink it, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take my buff and put it over my Nalgene and then pour the water out from the pot into my Nalgene through that so that it sifts out any of that dirt and debris. And so having the larger mouth for that actually makes it a really good scenario versus trying to do that with one of these. Like, it's just so much more of a challenge to do. So this guy definitely becomes one of my tried and true choices when it comes to that winter camping. Now, some of the negatives, of course, with the Nalgenes is that these things are a lot bulkier and they're a lot heavier, right? And so when I started trying to lighten my gear, that was why one of the first things I did was when I'm going out on a longer trip, like when I was fast packing the Colorado Trail or getting out for a summer trip where this might be a little overkill for things. This thing weighs over 6 ounces for this one. I mean, I know there's some lighter weight options that you can find out there, but this just happens to be one that I had in my pantry there to pull out for the video. And so it can become, you know, a heavier option, you know, for you and stuff for that. So it's got its own negatives too as well. But when I'm out on winter trips, ounces matter just a little bit less than staying warm and making sure I've got some hot water. So let's talk just for a minute about the environmental impacts of, you know, how you go to choose about what you're doing. Of course, a disposable water bottle like this, as I mentioned earlier, is going to degrade over time. And you're going to have some of those potential health challenges of the leaking of some of the microplastics and other things. And of course, if you're using a reusable bottle, you know, whether that's a Nalgene or the CNOC or even the soft Flask, something that's built to be longer lasting, you're going to have less waste that you put back out into the environment. And also, I mean, as you're looking at when people are actually building something that's meant to be longer term use, then you're going to have fewer chemical concerns than if you're buying something that's meant to just be a disposable one-time use. And then too, I mean, just naturally, I mean, something that's built to be longer term, you're going to have to replace it less often. You know, one of the challenges I do have with my Smartwater bottle is that it'll start to get kind of nasty. Even if I toss it in the dishwasher, you know, on the occasion, you know, I got to be really careful about what the hot water in the dishwasher will do to it. But even if you try to clean it in the sink or whatever you do, like over time, I end up just tossing these things and getting another one because it starts to look a little dirty. So I mean, my thoughts really, if you're already willing to spend $700 on a sleep system or a tent, then maybe spending an extra ounce or a little extra money in order to help reduce waste isn't that crazy. So the ultimate question is will the CNOC replace my smart water bottle going forward? I don't know. I'm going to be testing the CNOC water bottle over the next season to include a fast packing trip that I have coming up out in the deserts of Joshua Tree National Park. So in that trip coming up, I'm going to actually take the CNOC water bottle and some other water bottles too, because I'm going to have to carry a good bit of water because I'm going to be out in the desert and there's not going to be a lot of options to be able to find water in other places. And so I'm going to have to make sure I'm carrying enough. And so I will probably end up carrying the soft flask because I'm going to be fast packing and I'll want to have them in my vest. And at least this one, if not also maybe a smart water bottle. I'm not really certain yet. I haven't dialed out that to know exactly what I'm going to carry, but it'll give me an opportunity to see whether or not I really like this thing more so when I'm living with it out on the trail. Because so far since I've gotten this thing, I've only really been testing it here around the house and around my shop, and just kind of carrying it around, using it for a water bottle here around the house. So as you guys hear me say all the time, Ultralight's not necessarily about being the lightest. It's about carrying what makes sense for your trip. So would you be willing to carry an extra ounce in order to have that reusable water bottle? Or do you still think that the smart water bottle is king? Drop a comment down below and let me know, what water bottle do you guys use when you go out? Hopefully this was beneficial for you guys. I'm always trying to share the different options that we have when we're thinking about building our ultralight setups. Tell me what works for you guys, and hopefully I see you guys out on the trail.